Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror sci-fi show where things could get totally radical. Now today, I will be welcoming back my good friend Katie Barberi, who you all know as Tangerine in the Garbage Pail Kids Movie. She's coming back on today. We're going to just have a random chat, maybe comment about this quarantine situation that we're in, maybe talk about some projects that she was working on that was shelved. Just anything that we can think of. I love Katie. She's such a sweet and supportive person. I love talking to her. She's a lot of fun. And it's going to be really great. Not much more to say beyond that. I just love Katie, and it's going to be great to have her on today. So yeah, here is my new interview with Katie Barberi. What's up, Katie?
Hey, how are you?
I am great. Welcome back. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm awesome. I am experiencing this extraordinary time in my own way, as I believe, we're all experiencing this. And I was watching an interview yesterday, the day before, with Colbert and Trevor Noah, and he was saying that the isolation happens to us individually. Like, we're all kind of in front of our computers and in front of our televisions and reading and writing and exercising and doing whatever it is that we're doing, but that it takes going outside to any sort of major thoroughfare to see that everybody is experiencing, the same thing, and that it's an extraordinary time that we're living. But I am filled with positivity and love for everyone, and just very, very, very sad for those who are experiencing loss and the way that they are experiencing loss. Mm-hmm. How people are oftentimes not even able to say goodbye to their loved ones. That is horrifying and so very sad. And our hearts and our love and our positive energy go out to them every minute. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side, there is great beauty to what is happening at this moment as well, and the trick is to find it. So that's my mission every day, and just kind of wishing everybody the best at this moment. How are you?
I am remaining positive as well, but I'm still acknowledging that this is nothing but a clusterfuck. Because it's just...
Well, it's unprecedented.
Yeah.
In modern history, this is unprecedented.
Yeah.
So, everybody is dealing with extraordinary how malleable we are as human beings and how our brains can adjust. Okay, inside, complete and total life change on that level, and just everything that entails, and how we're all sort of, those of us who are choosing to respect the wishes of our governors, how we're all sort of doing that, and changing our lives in this drastic manner. But there is no way that this is not affecting every one of us on I think, a deeper level than even we can understand right now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It to me, it's like part 9/11 and part rebooted that old sci-fi show V. God. It's just.
Yeah. I mean, well, the 9/11 is the national emergency, and it's the effort to sort of begin the healing process and make the best out of a catastrophe. But at the same time, with 9/11, we were able to hug each other. We were able to be together. We were able to, and as an actor, as an artist who tries to send out a positive message via social media every day, whether it be something to make you laugh or something to create some level of positivity, it's really hard to spend most of your time as an actor saying, reach out to one another, togetherness. and touch the ones you love and hug the ones you love and hold the ones you love. And now to be having to say the opposite and trying to send out positivity to everyone and saying, okay, we're alone together and we remain together but apart. It's a difficult dichotomy to be dealing with. But I think we're all. I'm really, really impressed by the way that humanity in general is reacting to this. I really am. There's a lot of love out there, and you can really feel it.
I agree. Yeah. I think it's going to be good for us because, ever since 9/11, we've just been very selfish and in some cases greedy and mean-spirited and just not kind, and I think that this is going to humble everybody, and I think it already has in some cases. And
well, it's a great equalizer, isn't it? It brings tears to my eyes. I'm going to try not to get emotional in this interview, but I am so emotional. Every day I'm crying. I'm just driving Craig nuts because I'm crying and in front of commercials, he's like, really?
Yeah.
I'm so emotional, but what strikes me that has such great beauty is the way that we're all handling this and approaching it with one another. I think that it's a beautiful time to recognize what we can truly do and that we don't want to go back to where we were.
No.
Go back to where we were. This is a great equalizer. When were these essential workers recognized the way they deserve to be recognized? Doctors, nurses, doctors, okay, generally, they make a good living. They are recognized for their profession as saving lives. But first responders, sanitation workers, the guys who drive the garbage trucks, they're keeping us, the guys that deliver the groceries to the grocery store, our grocery store workers. We're getting out every day and applauding them. I mean, that's so beautiful, Tommy. That's so wonderful. That's happening. All of a sudden, the rock stars are the people that largely got ignored for so long. And I think that is gorgeous. I think it's gorgeous. And the environment, we're giving the environment a break. I would like to see, what I'd like to see? This can't happen in all cases, and I get that. But in some cases, it might be something we might aspire to. Companies that, I have a friend, and she's one of my dear friends, is a travel agent, and she's experiencing, we don't know from one minute to the next how long that's going to continue for the moment. But right now, she is still working from home and planning vacations for people or business trips, later on in the year. But they moved her she was actually in an office, and they moved her into her home. Well, they've already done all of that readjustment, haven't they? They've already changed their systems so that their employees can work from home. I would like to see some CEOs of companies say to their employees, you know what, you've been doing this. Productivity hasn't gone down. In some cases, it's gone up. It's cheaper. It's healthier. Keep right on doing it. I would love to see that happen. Lowering the amount of people that drive to work every day that maybe don't need to, can stay home, spend more time with their families, be a little bit more integrated in their world, and not having to kind of dispatch to a place that they don't really want to be when they can do the same job from home. So I would love to see that happen. That would be great, because on so many levels, I think it would affect the environment, the economy, our family life in a positive way. I'd like to see that happen. And then there's an infinite amount of changes that can come from this that are very positive. Again, recognizing every minute and mourning every minute, the loss of human life that we're experiencing, especially on an international level, which is just devastating.
Yeah. Oh my God. As I've talked to many of my guest friends about this the last couple of weeks too. I'm very worried about the future of conventions and signing events.
Of what, lady? I didn't hear you correctly.
Of Comic Cons and signing events. I'm very worried about those.
God. I absolutely. I mean, that's there's so many. There are so many venues that are being so affected, and it's extraordinary. I mean, as an actor, I have not really embarked on the Comic-Con world yet, although I would like to. But I am on Cameo, and I do events occasionally. Well, Cameo, it's extraordinary because I kind of got a little bit of a jump on it. Doing a virtual opportunity for people to be spoken to by the celebrities that they're interested in, or the artists that they're interested in, athletes, singers, actors. But yeah, absolutely. Comic-Cons, concerts, festivals, theater. I mean, it's really, really scary. And you know what? There is no way to not look at this with some level of objectivity and understand that, these venues are going to be very affected, at least, in the not so distant future. I don't know when people will feel safe to be in enclosed spaces together anymore, sitting right next to each other and, what have you. But artists will always find a way. We'll always find a way to communicate our art. We'll always find a way to convey what we want to convey to the public that we're lucky enough to find interest in.
Yeah, it's just
so we'll find a way. But yeah, it's tough. It's very tough. I mean, the Comic-Con world is completely established, and it's a huge draw for fans, and it's gonna take a while. I mean, we haven't yet seen the after effects. We're still so in it. We're on lockdown right now. We're in shelter in place. We have not even begun to see what the long-term effects of this are going to be, or when we can have any hope of it not being a concern anymore. This is also going to do a bit of a mind blow on us, as far as even those of us who don't particularly feel that we're neurotic or paranoid in too many ways are going to be affected by it.
Yeah.
So even if the shelter in place is relaxed, even when it is, not if, but when it's relaxed, and they start to the government starts to put provisions in place that allows us to attend venues with limitations and with new rules and what have you. They're going to be, in my opinion, I mean, just honestly, there are going to be a whole bunch of people who would rather still not do it, because there's no law that says that they have to. So it's very upsetting, of course.
Yeah, I mean, my mother and I, we were looking forward. We were going to be out there second weekend of May. We were going to be there for 4 or 5 days, the second week of May, and they were going to have Monsterpalooza and the Hollywood show the same week, which has never happened before. And we were just looking forward to going. They were going to have the whole cast of Grease at the Hollywood show. I mean, we were excited about that, and then this happened. But they're planning on doing it in August once everything has been taken care of, and I hope it does, because they just made some new announcements, even with the people that were going to be booked in May, doing it.
Well, I look, no one. There's no way that all of us hope that everything will go back to normal as soon as humanly possible. But I mean, logic states that there are going to be some people who might have been more prone to go out and be amongst crowds who are going to be a little bit more concerned about doing that, and that's understandable. We have to deal with everyone's point of view needs to be respected, and everyone's anxiety issues with regard to this understood. Because, like I say, we're not even really dealing with the psychological ramifications of this yet. Right now, we're just all of us are in survival mode, and and being as malleable as we can be and as flexible as we can be with what we are understanding we need to do as a nation and as a people, as a planet, in order to ratify this. But, the long-term effects of it and how it's going to affect a lot of people psychologically, particularly people with anxiety issues that already exist. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that's being written about that at this moment. And psychologists are warning, people with anxiety issues that already exist. I mean, this is just really doing quite a number on them. I mean, obviously, it's completely understandable. So, we just are going to have to be, that's why I'd like to see us come back to a world that's different, that's more compassionate, that is more understanding, and that we don't lose patience with one another, but rather embrace each other's needs as much as possible. It's hard for me to embrace the point of view of protesters right now for the shelter in place. It's hard for me because I respect our state government, and because I respect Dr. Fauci, and I respect a series of individuals I've seen that are asking me to take this seriously. And I don't feel for 1 minute that, of course, I believe that, if you want to go out and put yourself at risk, that I guess that's your constitutional right. But what we don't have the right to do is put anyone else at risk. Mm-hmm. So for those of us who are asymptomatic, which according to a lot of literature that's out there, and a lot of reporting that's out there are quite a few of us, to put someone else in danger, particularly somebody who is vulnerable, someone who might, there are people that we come across all day who we may not even know have lung conditions or lung issues or respiratory bronchial issues or what have you. To put those people in danger because we don't know we're sick is where our constitutional rights are not being violated by our state officials asking us to please shelter in place. And so it's hard for me to understand these people that are right now protesting and saying, I want you to leave me alone and let me live my life. But I am obligated to understand their side of it as well.
Yeah.
Because if not, I'm not being sensitive to everybody's point of view. And that's what's so important. That's what we have to change coming out of this. We have to respect each other's point of view a little bit more. Doesn't mean you have to agree with it. Doesn't mean you have to abide by it. But one does have to respect it. And I'd like to see a kinder, more sensitive, more compassionate, respectful world come out of this. That would be great. That would be a wonderful takeaway if we could experience that, if we could manifest that. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, I let this one friend of mine know the other day. She's a vegan, and she's always preaching about it on Facebook. And she was posting the status saying that she was gonna unfriend people, if they give her shit about it. And I wrote, but you're one of the few people that I can disagree with and still like. And she commented, "Oh Jesus, Tommy, you're gonna kill us all."
Oh, that's funny. But she was saying she was going to unfriend anybody that didn't agree with being a vegan?
Not necessarily disagree with, but just like, putting their point of view on there. She's like saying, you don't have to agree with me, but just be nice. This is my view.
Respect the fact that I feel differently about, because many vegans are vegans because they feel that eating any sort of animal or animal product is cruelty. Mm. And I completely, that's kind of a different situation than what we're dealing with the coronavirus. And being requested to shelter in place and with protesters and what have you. The question, I wish I could be a vegan. I really do, and I completely respect that point of view. Mm-hmm. Because, it doesn't make sense that I have a Maltese that I adore, and yet I eat cow or fish or chicken or whatever it is that I eat. They have feelings too, and I respect that. I was not raised in an atmosphere where I think I can do that, but I certainly respect people who do, and I would never argue with their point of view. I think I think they're right and I'm wrong, actually.
Yeah, well, I would prefer that they would just be vegetarians and not vegans, because they come off like they're a cult. You know what I mean? I mean, at least vegetarians.
Well, it's kind of okay. So it's an issue where a terminology kind of got its own bad name, right? Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, it seems that way. selfish, maybe militant point of view when that's not the intention. The intention is protection of animals.
Yeah.
And I get it. I definitely get it. So please tell your friend for me, I respect her point of view 100%. And I think, we all should and learn something from it. Maybe we can't do it all, but maybe we can try to do some of it,
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm just so baffled as, what's going to play out this year. This was the year that I was looking forward to because I had an awful year last year, and this was going to be the year that everything was going to work out for me, because, my mom got injured. I had to stay behind and not go to LA, and plus the person I was going to stay with out there got in trouble with the law, and
wow.
Yeah.
And that was 2019.
That was last year, yes.
I didn't know any of this, Tommy. I'm sorry.
Well, I'll tell you. I was listening to the previous interview we did. All that stuff happened about 3 days after we talked.
That's interesting. Yes. I had a crazy year last year as well. But here's what I learned. Mm-hmm. Here's what I can impart to you. I know a lot of people that for some reason 2019 was just just off the map for so many people, where they were just like, how is this happening? A lot of, surreal experiences. But what I learned was this, and maybe I can share this with you and maybe, hopefully make some sort of a difference positively, is that I learned that there are at least, by and large, I'm not talking about tragic experiences, but I'm talking about the things that we consider to be setbacks, and the things that we consider to be, they say life is what happens while you're making plans. Well, that's very true. But what I learned as well is that there are not necessarily bad experiences or good experiences. Right. There are only those experiences that make us feel satisfied, and those that make us feel challenged. And so it's from the experiences that we are made to feel challenged that we're given the opportunity to grow. And so the real challenge for me last year was to find the beauty in the experiences that were making me feel uncomfortable, unloved, unappreciated, held back in some way. To find the beauty in those experiences and say, I actually started a gratitude journal during that time. A friend of mine, Lorena Diaz, who was she is on a show, she's on Chicago Med almost every week. She plays one of the nurses, and she was our stage manager on a play that I did last year, The Abuelas, which was written by Stephanie. And she gave me this gratitude journal at the end of the run of the play. And the gratitude journal I kind of had laying around. But when I started experiencing these challenges, I took the gratitude journal out and I started writing in it every day. And at first, it was very odd because I ended up having to, say thank you for things that normally would be considered negative experiences. But I learned somewhere in that process that the beauty is in seeing the positive aspects of the challenging emotions that you're feeling. When we're experiencing something that is making us feel held back or like we're losing the battle, to see how we can make ourselves stronger so that we can pick. It doesn't matter how many times you fall down. It matters how many times you get back up. Mm-hmm. I am so sorry, Stephanie Walker, and I have no reason. I don't know why I blanked, but anyway, she was our playwright for The Abuelas, and I send her my love, and I'm so sorry. One of those times when you're talking about something else and your mind just blanks. But I don't know if I'm making any sense, my dear. No, it's seeing the beauty in the challenging moments that we're having. That's a really cool part about going through a difficult experience.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you, and, talking about, how everyone needs to be kind and everything, and stuff, I feel like, in some ways I do God's work, and I'm not necessarily talking about this podcast, but Just before I became aware of this pandemic, a friend of mine from high school, she called me up. She had just had one of her ovaries removed because she had, and I'm paraphrasing this, some kind of a cervical blood flow disconnection happened to her, and
Wow.
she was very emotional and sad about it, But I made her laugh by saying that you know those lollipops they used to have at the carnivals. The candy part of it's like swirled on a stick.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly what you're talking about.
I told her that maybe that's what her fallopian tubes look like now, and she laughed out loud. And
That's funny.
yeah, and I
Funny.
felt
Well, I beg to differ that you're not doing God's work with your podcast as well, because you're interviewing people that we all grew up with, that we admired greatly, that we always wondered what they were like in their personal lives, and you're imparting all of that information.
right.
And everybody that's all artists that are interviewed on your podcast and on so many of these programs that are available to us now. But they always have some gem, some diamond to impart. I can always take something from it that I believe helps to grow and change for the better. And so you're being a vessel for that. So you should be very proud of that, my dear.
Oh, thank you.
Really.
I am proud of that, and I was talking to another guest friend of mine earlier today about that. I interviewed James Drury 2 weeks before he died, and
Wow.
that was
Yeah.
very profound to me. I feel like I have a responsibility now to interview 80, 90-year-old people before they die, and I reached out to Grant Kramer, who's been on the show, and said, "Can I interview your mother, the legendary actress Terry Moore?" She just did an interview. I heard her recently, and I'm still waiting to hear back and stuff. But I just feel like I want to interview all the old ones before they go, because I've had so many.
And two things with regard to that. I think that's fantastic. Two things with regard to that. One, they have so much wisdom to impart. They've been on the planet for longer than all of us have, and they there are some that honestly just get more ornery and maybe difficult with time, but there are others that have grown spiritually along with their age, along with their physical age, and those are the elderly that we want to listen to, the older citizens of ours that we want to listen to, the ones that have that wisdom to impart. And at the end of the day, when you hear most of them talk, if they have that level of spirituality, they'll tell you, don't sweat the small stuff. I've been here for 80 years or 90 years or whatever it is, and I'm still here. I'm surviving, and I've lost people, and I've gained people, and I've gained. I've had great moments of success and great moments of failure, but that's all part of the game. That's all part of being on this planet and experiencing it. So that's on one hand, and on the other hand, Tommy, is that in a lot of cases nobody's asked them for interviews in years, especially if they had a film or a program on the air in the 60s, the 70s, even the 80s. Nobody's calling on them. Nobody's asking to interview them, and it's so important for us as actors to be wanted and to be appreciated and to have something to say and have a vessel or a venue with which to say it. So that's amazing that you're doing that. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because when I was a kid growing up and watching the cult movies with these great actors who never had like a chance to like really shine in big movies, right? Yourself included, I feel. I just always wondered like what happened, right? And then when I start this show, and of course listening to other people's shows to get inspiration and to learn and stuff, and I hear these stories about how different things happened, and a lot of it is they went through Me Too experiences. They went through all these mind games of I'm going to get the part, but then I don't, and just all these different things, and even pointing at things like, someone in their family died and they had to give up the business to go take care of them for years until they passed. Just beautiful stuff like that, and it warms my heart that I've gotten closure for it,
Oh, well, that's fantastic, and you're providing closure for all of your listeners as well. There are people. I mean, I never dropped out of the business. It's actually my only means of income now for the last 33 years of my life. It's all that I've done. Yeah. I had to go to Mexico. I had to learn Spanish. I am Mexican. I was born in Mexico. Mm-hmm. I'm very proud Mexican, but I was raised in the United States, so I had to perfect the language in order to work in Spanish and the telenovela genre. Then I came back. Then I did a show with Nickelodeon. I just started a new role on Chicago Fire. I have kept going. But there are those people, I was just having a conversation the other day. You know who you should interview? You should interview my dear friend Jason Presson.
Oh, I've been wanting to interview him for a long time. Yes.
I might be able to hook that up for you, my friend. Let's see.
Yeah.
If he'll be willing to do that. But I'm throwing him to the lions now. He's going to kill me. But because he's been a very private person for years now.
Yeah.
Jason was a stone boy. He was one of the explorers. He was tremendously successful in the 80s, and an extraordinary actor and one of my dear friends.
The Brat Patrol.
Go ahead.
He was in the Brat Patrol also with Sean Astin.
Yeah, he was.
I used to watch that over and over and over again when I was a kid. I wore the tape out. His contribution was extraordinary. But, there are actors that get out of this business willingly. Mm-hmm. And, it could be said, I'll let him tell his story if he wants to, but it could be said that Jay is one of those people. And I have other friends, like another dear friend of mine, Scott Nell, was in Not Quite Human 2 with me. He played Jay Underwood's roommate at college. Yeah, so Scott was a great young actor and very enthusiastic and very into, the industry and wanting to be part of it. Jay a little bit different because Jay started when he was a child. Scott started when he was already a young man. Yeah. But these are two people that at some point in their career, for whatever reason, and that would be then their story to tell, decided, I don't know if this is for me anymore. For whatever reason, they either grew out of it or grew away from it or they weren't sure that the challenge was what they really wanted anymore, because this is one of the most, I don't know if this is the most difficult business in the world, but it is one of the most difficult as far as job security goes. There virtually is none. If you can get to a Tom Hanks kind of a place, it's fantastic. But in order to do that, it's a very choice few. And so there are people that kind of leave that rat race somewhere in the middle and say, I think I can live my life and be satisfied doing something else with it. And those are the people that give us closure. It's hard for me when I hear stories of people that stopped doing this a long time ago, but really involuntarily. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's hard. That's hard. Those stories are hard to hear. But the great thing about this industry, it's never over. This is an industry that it just takes the right mix of being in the right place at the right time, preparation, enthusiasm, love for what you do, and all of it can kind of come together. At the end of the day, I call the industry, all of us, it's sort of a grotesque carnival family. But we are all family, and at the end of the day, you realize, there are people that are working that you've known for 20 years, 30 years, and you never know who might be made aware of you at any point or who might be thinking about you and what project they might have going. And so, it's never over. If you want to stay in it, Henry Winkler accepted the Emmy for Barry just now. And Henry Winkler, his career was over because of success.
Yes.
It was virtually over because of success. He had become so iconic as the character of Fonzie in Happy Days, so iconic.
Right.
And then tried to go to Broadway, and there was that famous story of, I think it was Winkler had made a lot of money and had a beautiful house in Toluca Lake that I was at on several occasions, and he had done well. And of course, the merchandising and residuals and syndication and all of that from Happy Days, of course, had paid off quite well. But he wanted to continue working, and when he accepted this Emmy for this role that he's doing of the acting coaches in Barry, which he's brilliant, he said, a friend of mine told me, if you stay at the table long enough, the chips will come your way. Mm-hmm. But you have to stay at the table. You cannot lose faith. And it's hard. It's hard when you hear these stories of people that haven't worked in years and years and years, and they can't get an agent, and they last had, their success many, many years ago. But even I would say today, the business is always changing. Now, we're turning the corner again. A lot of us are going to be working virtually for a while. That's going to make for some new necessities in the industry. It's going to make for some new challenges. And maybe there are people out there that haven't worked in years but had a voiceover career that they kind of left behind, or had, something that they were holding on to that at some point they lost enthusiasm for, because there's a tremendous amount of pain that goes with rejection. But I would say, if you still love what you do, and if you still love this industry, don't give up. It's our decision whether or not we're going to give up. And I've been told no, way too many times to count. But like I said, it's not about how many times you fall down. It's about how many times you get back up. And as long as you're clear that this is your dream and this is your, and I say that for anything that anyone does. Don't listen to those who say that you can't or you shouldn't.
Yeah, I stopped.
They're not living your life.
Yeah, I stopped.
Living your life.
I stopped the moment that I came back from my car accident. I was like, I'm never going to let anyone tell me what to do again, ever.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're not on this planet to do to live your life the way others want you to live it. You're on this planet to live your life. Mm-hmm. And those of us artists who love what we do and who know that at the end of the day, interpreting a character and being able to move someone either with laughter or with tears, or hearing that applause if you're doing theater, or whatever it is that creates satisfaction in you, that is yours. That's yours, and no one can take that away from you. Mm-hmm. And it's our God-given right to continue to strive for our dreams. And so it's hard when you hear those stories of people that gave it up not because they wanted to, but because they felt they had to. It's never over. It is never over unless you feel like it is. Because at the end of the day, we're more in control as artists than we think we are.
Exactly. Just don't put it on Facebook, otherwise people will tell you you're not through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know that Facebook, I don't necessarily use Facebook or other means of social media, Instagram or Twitter, what have you. I don't necessarily use it to voice if I'm having a bad day or a hard day. I'm probably not going to share that, because I feel like it's not it's really my job to impart as much positivity as I can. Mm-hmm. And you never know who's out there who needs a piece of information that's going to make them smile, that's going to make them feel a little bit brighter. So as artists, I think it's really important for us to not use social media kind of as therapy, or
yeah.
I don't know if that's the space. There's a telephone, there's close friends, there's family, there's people that we can confide in without necessarily affecting anyone's day, negatively. On the contrary, you want to be a positive force always, and you never know whose day you're going to brighten with a word of kindness or a word of wisdom that you have to impart. And if I'm having a really bad day, mm-hmm. I'll look at what it is that I would like to see or hear someone say to me, mm-hmm. and then I'll say it. And there's been way too many times when I've done that, and someone, Katie, that was exactly what I needed to hear today. And you just think, bam, awesome, challenge accepted and conquered. I was able to take my negative feelings, my selfish little feelings or whatever it is, and turn that into positivity and make somebody's day better. And I don't know that there's, greater gift than that.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. I wanted to ask you, did you like the interview I did with Day?
I did. I heard it, and I heard the part where the two of you talked about moi. Selfishly, I'll talk about that. Yeah, she's wonderful, and she's an artist. She's been just an extraordinary example for me in my life. And I thought it was so funny that she was so surprised that I thought she was so beautiful, and I felt so complimented by that line in Not Quite Human too, where her character says that my character was patterned after her bone structure.
Yeah.
At first, when they wrote it, they conceptualized, Dave was a part of the project early on, but when Eric wrote it, my understanding is that they were looking for a little blonde actress, maybe with straight hair and, just a very, very different look, kind of a Marsha Brady kind of a look to play Roberta. And then I went in there and auditioned and fought for the role and apparently made them change their minds a little bit. And I had this wild 80s hair that I couldn't control because it was pre hair irons and what have you. And so, I just went in there and I played the part and made them laugh and did things that they hadn't seen other actors do for the role of Roberta. And that's how I got it. And they told me later, the producers told me and Eric told me that they were kind of conceptualizing it as maybe, the Bride of Frankenstein, like a different look, a different idea. Maybe the wild hair, maybe the big eyes weren't such a bad thing. And maybe, you're creating a doll that way instead of, the little blonde that they were looking for. But apparently the original line was, she looks like me. She was patterned to look like me. But Eric was like, well, she doesn't look that much like her. So they changed it to bone structure, and I was very complimented by that they left it at least that way. So that was very sweet that she felt so complimented by that. Yeah, I did hear her interview. And I know you talked with her about Pretty Woman, and she has made quite a contribution to the industry, and I think it's great that she's still doing her art. I would love to see her again. Hopefully, there's a lot of people I'd love to see again, and hopefully the day will come when we do.
Yeah, you know that dirty joke I told her at the end?
I actually had some trouble with that feed, so tell it again because there were parts that I missed.
Okay, so I said to her, the difference between a golf ball and a G-spot? It takes a man 20 minutes to find the golf ball. And after the interview was over, she messaged me on Facebook. And by the way, I don't know if you picked up on this. I think she was drinking a cocktail the whole time.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it was that so much as I thought maybe, that she hadn't thought about these projects in a while. That was the impression that I had gotten. So I thought it was really cool that you took her back there. You know what I mean? Because she was on kind of a nostalgia trip of her own, I felt like, and I thought that was really great. But anyway. Yeah,
well, there's been guests I've had that were drinking a cocktail. They either told me or I got the hint right away. But anyways, she messaged me on Facebook after, and she told me, my boyfriend is Dutch. He can find my G-spot just like that. I cracked up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, good to know.
Yeah, I was cracking up.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, I just could not believe it. I love it. I love it when I get guests that are like me, have no filter, and they just go all out like that. I interviewed this one actress last summer. I shit you not. She had an orgasm on the air. Just by asking.
How is that possible? And is that something that I even want to ask?
I just asked her. When you were listening to the Day interview, and probably all my female interviews, there's a secret silly game that I play with them. And so one of the questions I asked her was, what's your favorite part of the body? And then she was like, oh, God, I don't know. And then there was like a 3-second pause, and then suddenly she came.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I would say that's probably one of your favorite interviews, and I think that's great.
It's in there, yes.
Wow. That's good for her.
Yeah, that's everyone's response that I've told.
Good for her?
Yeah, good for her.
That's awesome. Giving a new meaning to the song "Let It Go."
Let It Go. That's good. That's good.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said poor Disney. I shouldn't have said that.
In the Disney context.
Yeah, oh, God.
Oh my God.
What did I do to myself?
I bought a DVD.
I'll be forgiven, I'm sure.
Yeah. I bought a DVD last fall of the Garbage Pail Kids. And
I'm glad for you. I can't get one right now. I don't know what's going on with. I thought during this time of isolation that I should catch up on a lot of the projects that I don't have all of the software on, and or the hardware. And I for some reason on Amazon right now, there's a bit of a shortage of Garbage Pail Kids DVDs. But anyway, what did you get? The anniversary one?
No, it was just a cheap one that I got.
Oh, it was just okay.
And I'm watching it, and Ron and I talked about this. I
heard Ron's interview as well.
Yeah, I told him, I said, you were just so well beyond your years in that movie. Being that you were so young, but just you came off so much older. I mean,
me or Ron?
You.
Oh, me? Yeah, I was 15.
Yeah, I mean, you were just so well beyond your years. And one thing I noticed too, you're great at reacting. Like in the shop when Blythe puts her leg up to trap Dodger, you got that cynical smirk of delight on your face.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and it's an important aspect of that. Is cinematographers. They have to be able to capture those moments.
Yeah.
So it's in a film it's a little bit different because they're gonna do a single on you. But in the telenovela genre that I've worked in for as long as I have, they're working with 3 cameras all the time, and they're punching. They're punching in on actors. They don't get a full take of any one. They don't get a wide and then singles on each one of the actors. They do, but there are many scenes that we shoot where they don't. And so I had a director tell me once that I steal camera is the term that he used, and I thought that was really cool, and that kind of goes along with what you're saying. If you're reacting to other characters in the scene, they may want to, the director may want to punch in on your camera. So that we see, so that the audience is seeing your reaction, if no one else in the room is reacting. I learned a long time ago to kind of to always make sure that you're present in a scene. And acting is about reacting. It's about reacting to your environment and the other characters that are in the scene with you, be it 1 or 20. And so. I mean, the reaction in GPK, for a lot of that first part that they were shooting Captain Manzini's shop, I don't think I've ever told anyone, this is an exclusive, I was extremely sick. I had, the day that I started shooting, I had severe tonsillitis. And my eye, ear, nose, and throat doctor said, well, she either goes onto the set or she goes into the hospital. At this point, I would hospitalize her. But he shot me up with drugs and sent me onto the set, and I couldn't even really, I couldn't speak. I certainly couldn't speak very loudly. So as far as I know, they didn't have to dub any of it, but a lot of that would have been because a lot of those scenes were reacting. They were reaction shots. So I'm very proud of that because at least I was present and not asleep on screen because I was on some heavy antibiotics for the first couple of weeks that I was shooting that movie.
Ooh, wow. Yeah, that's so cool, though. And it's funny because that movie and Howard the Duck are considered to be the 2 worst movies of the 80s. And the funny part is...
It's a distinction all our own.
Yeah. The funny part is, the studios knew how popular the kids' comic books and trading cards were, so they figured they had a hit on their hands, and so they decided, they weren't going to put a whole lot of effort into it, and they were going to release it good or bad, and they figured it would make money. I think by the late 90s and the early 2000s, when the Hollywood blockbuster kind of got a little bit of a resurgence with, franchise movies and stuff, I think I think they put a lot more effort into it for a little while, and then they went back to being lazy again. And now it's a whole different world. Now, people know that it's a bad movie on the internet before they go see it.
Right, right. I have. It's always been an anomaly to me.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly happened on an executive level with that film? Because the script that Melinda Palmer wrote, a lot of what she wrote was, obviously you were dealing with the Garbage Pail Kids who were gross.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there was one that vomited, and another one that passed gas, and another one was like severe acne and whatever. I mean, they were gross. That was what made kids laugh and what piqued their curiosity. But within the confines of that, there was this really sweet story about Dodger, who was the main character, the protagonist, played by Mackenzie Aston.
Mm-hmm.
His struggle to learn, or his opportunity to learn that beauty is only skin deep, and that and that by virtue of these Garbage Pail Kids being so physically unattractive, but being good, noble human beings that were truly his friends, and Captain Manzini being truly his friend when he was an odd sort of fellow and very kind of mystical but eccentric. That you would have the opportunity to see that maybe someone like Tangerine, who at the end of the film we see is just as vulnerable, but that the good-looking characters, mind you, and I say that humbly, but that's what I was representing, might not be what we should strive to be as human beings, but rather, beautiful on the inside. And there was a lot of aspects of that film that did not end up on screen as written in the script. And I think at some point there might have been some tendency on an executive level to question whether or not the kids would really care about that moral. But I think it would have made a difference if the script that Linda wrote had been what ended up on the screen. Mm-hmm. We weren't. I mean, Anthony Newley is a legend. Yeah. The man was a legend and one of the kindest human beings that I've ever known. We're talking about the man who wrote The Candyman and Stop the World, I Want to Get Off, and all of the music for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original version, and just a legendary British performer. And then Mac was, is the son of John Aston and Anna, Addie Duke, and he had a series. He had The Facts of Life. I was the one that was being launched in that film. But we're talking about two consummate professionals. They're not, the script that they read was a script that should be put on film. It's just that a lot of the sensitive and sweet natures of that script that were meant to show children that lesson about how beauty is meant to be understood on the inside. It's the level and the type and the moral of person that you are, not what you physically look like. A lot of that wasn't transmitted finally on the screen, but it was in the script. So what can I say? I mean, at the end of the day, everything happened for a reason, and my life and my career went on in a very different way. Mm-hmm. But Mac and I had a conversation not too long ago where, we both talked about how in a way we're very lucky because we were very young performers. Mac was 14, I was 15, and we were kind of put in that, it's not easy to hear from a whole bunch of critics. This is the worst film of 1980. I think it was 7. Yeah. And how dare they? And the parents groups, the conservative parents groups that protested in order to get the movie out of the theaters. We were embarrassed and we were saddened by it, and it was hard because we were kids. But at the end of the day, now we both kind of feel privileged that we were the two people on the planet that were chosen to go through that, because that has to speak on some level of the strength and the spirituality that he and I kind of both had in that time, and that's something we can be very proud of.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, being the historian that I am, I do know this about Atlantic. They had only 3 box office hits in their history. Valley Girl, Night of the Comet, and Teen Wolf. And their movies lost a lot of money. I do know that, which is why they ultimately went under. and stuff. But they had such a footnote in independent cinema's history, along with New World Pictures, both in the Corman era and the post-Corman era, that someone needs to make a documentary about these two film studios, and I am surprised no one has.
It's people are. I'm sure that there are people out there that have been interested in doing a documentary like that, and we're in an extraordinary time when people's projects sort of kind of been put aside because we were all so busy, kind of running around like ants after whatever it is we were after. We're having an opportunity to take a minute and say that project that I left, but that I've always had a passion for, that I kind of left behind. I'm going to take up that project right now that I have the time. So maybe somebody's out there who is interested in telling that. So why don't you tell that story? You can become a documentarian, dude.
I have.
It'd be a good idea.
I have thought about doing that. There's so many documentaries I want to make, and...
Well, now is the time. Write it down, and on your computer, look at it, do some research, and see what it would take. Now is the time.
Well, my writing...
We're all at home.
Yeah.
Anybody that you want to interview, it's not going to be as hard. We're all available right now.
Yeah.
Do it. We can all interview via Skype and talk about these things. That you have such a passion for 80s cinema and 70s cinema and the things that were massive hits and the things that weren't and how that happened. I think it would be an extraordinary documentary.
Yeah.
You should do it.
Yeah. My writing process it's funny. I write the movie in my head for a long time, and then I put it down when I have the time, but I never forget most of the stuff that I come up with in my head, And the script I came up with 3 years ago, I'm going to start writing it now during this time. It's a Judd Apatow style.
At this time, we're all available for new projects, and we're all here for each other, and we all want to contribute to each other's art in any way that we can, and I think that would be amazing.
Yeah,
so, you should definitely do that.
It's a Judd.
Definitely do it.
It's a Judd.
I'm bug you to do it. I'm gonna be messaging you now.
Yeah, it's a Judd Apatow style romantic sex comedy, like the 40-Year-Old Virgin is, and it's a movie that people would look at it and go, yeah, that's a Tommy movie, because it's so politically incorrect and it's got so much nerd references and stuff,
Oh, well, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely do it.
Yeah.
Do it, and do a documentary about what happens to these films and how that happened and how companies went under. I think that's a great idea. And I think it's something that we'd all be really interested in seeing.
Mm-hmm.
This time is about taking stock as well, and really looking at who we are and who we want to be, what it is that we want to become, and so I think that for artists, our passions, the things that our creativity can get stunted in the face of the business, in the face of being after trying to make money and trying to survive and trying to, get that next job, and actors, we're actors for hire. We're there for other people's visions and other people's projects, but we all have an interesting idea. We all have something going on in our heads that we should impart. And right now, this is the time for that. The time for introspection. It's the time to look at, who it is, who do we want to become? What person, what artist do we want to become? What do we want to impart? What do we want to say? And we've all got projects that we need to pick up and finish.
Which reminds me, did you ever start writing that blog you were telling me about last time?
Well, I'm not going to get too much into it, but I have started writing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and it's going ridiculously well. It's pouring out of me, and so I don't know what it's going to become yet, and so because of that, I don't want to talk too much about it. But you will be the first to know, my dear. I promise you.
Awesome.
But I am doing it every day, and
awesome.
It's in so much as we commit to taking this time and doing something that we're passionate about and constructive, and it's going to help us grow and share something with others. we need to do it. We need to commit to it and do it and not get sidelined because this opportunity is unique and it will go away. At some point, our lives will maybe go back to a new normal, but they're going to go back to normal on some level, and our time is not going to be our own anymore. So it's important to share that.
Mm-hmm. Who else have I interviewed lately that you liked listening to?
Well, I heard Ron's and I heard Dave's. I mean, you've always got. I think there was somebody that had done. There was somebody that had done a movie with Billy Jacoby at one point. Just one of the guys.
Yes.
I think I heard that interview, and I thought that was awesome.
Yes.
Somebody that you interviewed that was in just one of the guys. And I can't remember who that was. You're doing some very cool interviews.
Thanks. Yeah.
Very cool interviews, and you're digging deeper. And I think that's very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've interviewed about 7 people from just one of the guys, I think, and the one I just recently.
Oh, okay. So you're like, because I didn't hear you respond, and I thought, I know I heard it. No, what you're really saying is.
No, I just interviewed another one like 2 weeks ago, so I know what you're talking about.
I think it would have been recent. Yeah, it was very recent.
It was Robert Fieldsteel. Yeah. It was Robert Fieldsteel. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, he was cool to interview and stuff. Oh my God,
Nice.
I had Michael Boogaloo Shrimp Chambers on a couple weeks ago. That was a trip.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was just surreal for me. To me, he's the greatest dancer. He's the greatest dancer that's ever lived, ever.
Yeah, he's extraordinary.
He is. Yeah. I mean, I had Lardass from Stand By Me on a month ago. I mean, just God, so many people.
Wow, Lardass from Stand By Me.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible.
Yeah, he had a good story.
What is that actor's name? He was taller, I know, than any of the other than 4 leads. He was taller, and he was a little bit older.
He was, yeah. Andy Lindbergh.
Andy Lindbergh, that's awesome. That's awesome. What did he become? What did his life become?
He, let's see, he was in a band for a while in the 90s, and then he got into doing radio, and then he was doing something else, non-show business related, that he was telling me about. I can't remember everything because I do so many interviews. I can't remember everything that they tell me. I have to go back and listen.
Cool.
But he's had a happy ending so far, from show business.
Nice. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, Ron.
So we've got 2 projects that are out there right now that I should shamelessly plug.
Of course.
Only because we're at a moment when people are at home.
Yeah.
And we have the time to listen and read and do other things. So you can get them on Google Play. One of them is Comic Book for Daylight Sucks, which is an interesting read right now, especially with what we're going through, because it's about a family of vigilante vampires. And each one of the vampires has their mission, and it's everything from women's rights to children's rights to LGBTQ rights to the environment and what have you. And it also deals with immigration, and so it's very timely,
Mm-hmm.
kind of what we're going through right now. So that's an interesting read. Daylight Sucks. You can get that on Google Play. I think it costs like $2 to download the comic book, $2 or $2.50. And then Craig has 27 and All Washed Up, which is his commentary on his career. Have you ever read that? You would love that. I should send it to you.
Which one? Which one?
Craig Hurley, my fiance, wrote 27 and All Washed Up. It's a commentary on his life and career.
I haven't read that one, no.
Oh my God, I'm going to send it to you. You're going to love it. So you can get it on. It's all about television and film in the 80s and 90s and everything that he lived and what he learned. It's a really interesting read. You can also get that on Google Play. And then he wrote a short story called Altered State of the Union,
Mm-hmm.
which is freakishly accurate for what we're living right now. It's a little scary for me now that he's in the process of producing the audiobook, which will be released shortly.
Mm-hmm.
But now that he's doing that, to go back and read what he wrote and know the moment that we're living in now, Altered State of the Union is a really interesting read. And all of those books are available on
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that. That's so cool. I think it's time for us to play the game now.
What game?
The game that I play with my female guests.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You're frightening me a little bit, but okay.
I'm what?
I know how to defend myself.
I was what though?
You're frightening me a little bit, but I'm all good. I know how to defend myself. Go for it.
I know we're friends being silly, basically.
Okay.
It's silly slumber party questions, and how this works is, I ask you the question, you answer it, then you ask me the question, and I answer it. The same question each time. Katie, are you ticklish?
I am extremely ticklish. It's a way that people can victimize me on a level that I'm not too happy about. Yes, I am extremely ticklish. Okay, Tommy, are you ticklish?
I am baby ticklish. I am just very sensitive to tickling. Yes.
Yes, exactly. No, if anyone like sticks their finger out like they're going to, come near me and tickle me, I'm already experiencing it. So yeah.
Really?
It's awful. It's a curse.
Yes, I'm very prone to tickle rape.
Yeah, exactly. It's awful.
Okay, here's that question. Katie, what's your favorite part of the body?
Okay, so I need a clarification of my body.
It doesn't have to be. It could be anything, any body.
I think that the most interesting and expressive part of the body is the eye.
That's a popular one. Everyone tells me that one.
Well, it's the truth, though. I mean, it's the window to the soul, isn't it? So I'm sorry that I can't be more creative than that, but God's honest truth is the eye.
Oh no.
Tommy, what is your favorite part of the body?
You're not gonna be too surprised about this. My favorite part of the body is the belly button.
Nice. Well, it's a very individual thing, isn't it?
Yes.
And largely ignored. So I'll agree with you on that. And while I'm at it, a little PSA: clean it.
Yes.
Take a cotton swab and clean your belly button. That's something that should be in our daily routine for grooming. Clean your belly button. So anyway, that's my PSA. Perfect. All right, next question.
I agree. What color are your toenails painted?
Thank you for asking. My toenails are painted Valentine red at the moment.
Oh, love it.
That is the shade. Yep. Tommy, I'm a little afraid to ask this question. What color are your toenails painted?
They're not painted right now, but last time they were purple with sparkles.
Okay, I love that. I love that on so many levels. And I think that's the next color that I'm going to choose.
Yes. I've been painting my toenails since I was about 13 years old. It's always been, for me, a symbol of my bisexuality, and I'm very proud of it.
Nice.
Yes.
I love it. I think it's great.
Yes.
I have not done purple with sparkles, but I'm gonna try it, and when I do, I'm gonna think of you.
Oh, thank you so much. And you should post a picture of it too.
I will, and I'll tag you. That's a great idea. Okay.
Yes. Okay. What would you say is your best personality trait?
Oh, wow. What would I say is my best personality trait? I think that I'm a very positive human being.
I agree.
I think that I have a tendency toward positivity and toward uplifting and toward compassion, and I think that's something that can move me in this life toward being able to impart that to others and hopefully make a difference for the better in their day or in their lives. So yeah, I'd say that's my best trait. What about you?
I would say
I need to ask a question formally. Tommy, what would you say is your best personality trait?
it would be a couple things. Either my sense of empathy, which many of my guests think I have, and the fact that I have no filter, I'm not easily offended, and I have a great sense of humor that way.
You don't take things personally. I don't either, but I don't know that that's my best personality trait. But that's one of the secrets of life, not taking things personally.
Yeah, no, not at all. You can roast me all you want. I'm just gonna laugh out loud because
I love that.
I love it. I can laugh at my foibles.
I love that, and it's a very important part of getting through this life and having the best experience, living your best life, is not taking things personally, because pride can get in the way of a lot of joy. It makes us very kind of susceptible to, what others think of us and how it is that we feel we should behave in order never to be judged or never to be criticized in any way. Instead of learning maybe from whatever criticism may come our way, especially if it's constructive, a lot of the time, if we're a little bit too thin-skinned, we don't get the benefit of that gift that we're being given. And also, it can create a lot of pain for us as human beings to experience any sort of criticism or rejection on that level where it touches your heart so deeply. And so those of us who are a little bit stronger and a little bit wiser about it and understand that you can't take, what other people think of you is none of your business. Exactly. Is a saying that I heard not too long ago and that I love. We need to wake up every morning and be the best that we can be and not take anybody's opinion about us personally. That's their opinion, and it's important that it stay that way.
I totally agree. Yes, and then my favorite.
Next, I'm loving this game, by the way.
Oh, thank you. And then my favorite question: is there a stinky smell that just makes you gag?
Is there a stinky smell? Yes, rotten food.
Rotten food.
Rotten food of any kind. Rotten vegetables. Rotten meat. Rotten eggs. Yeah, I actually have to get out of whatever that is. Yeah, I can't. That can make me sick to my stomach. That smell. I'm terrified to ask, but Tommy, is there a stinky smell that makes you gag?
Either farts or feet.
Well, feet shouldn't smell. If feet are smelling, there's something wrong.
Oh, yeah.
If feet are smelling, go wash your feet.
Oh my God, when I was in the hospital for my accident, right, the last month I was there, I was so grumpy that the nurses didn't want to go near me a lot unless they had to, right? So they did not change. Wow. They did not change my socks for a month, and I had really bad athlete's foot for about 6 months after that when I got out, and that was the worst smell ever. Oh my God, it was gross.
Oh my God. Well, that's a different story, though. You were hospitalized.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was pretty bad. Yeah. And it's funny.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, it's okay. But you know what? Whenever I bring that up to certain guests, right, the ones who have children, they can't relate to that because any smell to them regarding body odor or anything, they're used to it.
Oh no, they're completely desensitized.
Yeah.
Completely desensitized. All the things that gross us out. Yeah, no, once you have kids, apparently it just doesn't affect. It's a part of life. Mm-hmm. So what are you going to do? Avoid all of that when you brought another human into the world and you're in charge of that for, a period of time?
Yeah. Like this one friend of mine, she says, the smell of my son's dirty diapers doesn't bother me. And I'm like, yeah, well, it would bother me if I had to change them.
Yeah, no, I know. No, I mean, I have a dog who's like a baby. She's a Maltese, and her stuff, whatever that may be, it doesn't bother me.
I have a cat that we've had since October. Her name is Cinnamon. We call her Hobag, though, because she's always laying on her back. And she's the sweetest girl. Oh, my God. She's like the cat we always wanted. And she's very fierce, very protective. There was a male cat in the neighborhood who's absolutely bean, and the other day she hissed at him and then smacked him in the face, and we were like, good for you, girl.
Nice. Yeah, no, I mean, but people personal stuff with their children and what they deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they become completely desensitized as parents, but we do have a prime opportunity at this moment, in part because of what we're dealing with, to improve our personal hygiene. And if you've got, not in your case because you were hospitalized, that's a different situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, my God, I can't believe they didn't change your socks. You need to change your socks every day. After every use, change your socks, wash your socks, and don't use the same socks with different shoes. Change your socks every day. Wash your feet and change your socks every day, and between your toes and underneath your toenails.
Mm-hmm. That's what I did. Yeah, and the funny thing is, I don't even wear socks when I'm at home. That was just a rare time that I did,
Yeah, I know. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. Change your socks after every use.
After every use. Oh my God, I heard that. I heard Jerry Lewis used to throw away every pair of socks he had after using them once.
Well, I don't know if you have to throw them away. That's what the laundry is for. But but after every use, I mean, if you're using socks to work out, change your socks. After you shower, don't put the same socks back on.
Yeah.
For heaven's sake.
Yep.
And it's dangerous. I mean, you can get athlete's foot, and the athlete's foot can actually turn into something more serious.
Yeah, I saw.
How do we improve our hygiene during this time? We have a prime opportunity to do that. Improve our hygiene. Learn how to take better care of ourselves.
Yeah, I saw the a news report that's talked about how Corona can affect the toes, right? And it was on YouTube. It was a news story posted on YouTube, and I'm reading the comments. And the first one I read was hilarious. The guy said, "Well, at least we know it cures foot fetishism."
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that is funny, but it's not so funny. There is an actor by the name of Nick Cordero.
Mm-hmm.
Who is a Broadway actor, and I certainly hope he's out of he was in an induced coma because of coronavirus, and this just happened a few days ago.
Mm-hmm.
They had to amputate his leg because he was in a coma, and the circulation was I don't know the complete story, but anyone can look it up. It's a gentleman by the name of Nick Cordero, who's a very talented Broadway actor, and he just, as far as I know, he wasn't even aware that they had to do this because he was in a coma, that they couldn't get enough circulation. And yeah, coronavirus is affecting people's limbs as well, if we're talking about a situation like that. So that's it's devastating. It's devastating what we're dealing with and how serious the virus is. It's just awful.
There's one actor I was going to interview who died from Corona, Mark Blum.
Yeah.
I reached out to him in January. One of my favorite movies of all time is Desperately Seeking Susan, and
it's an extraordinary film.
I wanted somebody on to talk about it for the 35th anniversary. The producers were absolute twats to me. I mean, I was disappointed by them. They were not very nice to me, and I was trying to find I was trying to find somebody from the movie, and he was the only one from the movie that actually responded to me. And at first he said no, and then I said to him, you're the only one that's left. I love this movie. I think it should be in the Library of Congress. It's a great movie, etc. Right? And he's like, okay, I can't say no to that. Here, reach out to me again in June after this thing I'm going through is over, right? And then two months later, he's gone.
I'm so sorry, my dear. I'm so sorry. Yeah, we've lost some extraordinary artists in this process, but also, just in general, just beautiful people of all ages. And it's bad. What can I say? We have to flatten the curve. We have to pay attention. We have to continue to do what is being asked of us and adjust and flex and be flexible and it is unprecedented. We're all very kind of freaked out and trying to figure out how to handle it, but we're all very resilient as well, more resilient than we know we are. And I know we're going to get through this, but the loss of the people along the way that we are going to lose, it's very sad.
very sad. It's funny too. The musicians who have died, you notice that all of them like probably never even sold a $1 million record. They had like a cult following.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Kenny Rogers died. Of course, he was a huge star and everything. But then there's Joe Diffie, and then there's that one guy. Oh God, what's his name? He was on Mark Barron's podcast a couple of years ago. I forget his name. He died, and then somebody else. Just all these musicians who had like cult followings died, and it's bizarre, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very sad. It really, really is. You know, we're only here for a short time.
Mm-hmm.
As long as our lives may be, it won't be long enough. So we have to make the choice every day. When we get up, how are we gonna live that day? You know, what are we gonna contribute to others, and what are we gonna contribute to ourselves? How are we going to react to the challenges that the day brings us and the challenges that life is bringing us? We only have this one experience that we know for sure, you know, that we're going to have. Whoever of us are people of faith. I was raised a Christian. I'm a person of faith. We all have our individual ideas and thoughts and faith and hopes for what happens to us when we leave here. But what we do know for sure is that we're here now, and how we choose to approach our lives, and how we choose to treat ourselves and treat others, and treat the day, treat the opportunity to be alive. How we choose to do that, that's up to us. I mean, we're going to be here once on this planet that we know of. And there are a million theories about what happens to our souls when they pass on from the body that we're in right now. But I personally, I'm Katie once.
Yes.
I know of. I'm going to be in this body with this faith, with this sense of humor, with these gifts, with these defects, one time. What am I going to do with that opportunity? Am I going to choose to wake up and be negative and be difficult and be hateful and be petty and be bitter and be selfish? Or am I going to spread love and positivity and spirituality and give myself and give anyone around me, anyone that comes in contact with me, the opportunity to have a better day? Because that may well be our last day, and if it isn't our last day, it's one of our last days from the time that we're born. So if we make the decision of how we're going to live our lives every day, we make the decision of how we're going to approach any challenge that faces us. You know, it's just, I mean, you hear people every day that I had a bad day, this happened to me, this person insulted me, this person offended me, I feel taken advantage of by this person. You know, we choose how we're going to. It seems like we don't, because a lot of us don't have control over the way we emote and the way we react.
Right.
But that's a learned tendency, and I'm not perfect, and I will always, you know, be given the opportunity to fall and to fail and to go into that place of anger or feeling resentment or feeling rage towards someone, or having my feelings hurt and having that turn into something that, you know, that is a negative emotion, or you know, whatever that may be. But I've been trying to catch myself and say, wait a minute, what am I going to do with this negative piece of information? What am I going to do with this, what is could be viewed as bad news, but really it's just news. Really it's just the next occurrence in my life. What am I going to do with that? How am I going to handle it? And I'd like to think that I'm growing and I'm getting a handle on, you know, learning that we choose the reactions that we're going to have. Mm-hmm. They don't choose us. We choose them. And we can choose to be just about as happy and about as fulfilled and about as filled with love and positivity and strength and joy as we want to be. That's our choice.
Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you about my exclusive, too, on the subject of offending people. In the month of May, there's several episodes of this podcast will not be posted on Facebook. It will be posted on Twitter only. I'm going to be doing a month-long block of having show business friends and non-show business friends appearing on the podcast to talk about one of my favorite subjects. And May is the international month of it. May is International Masturbation Month.
Nice.
Yes.
I think that there's a lot to be said on the subject. I think that it's a subject that is obviously for many reasons not spoken of quite enough. So I think you're contributing something very positive, my friend.
Yes. Ooh. And I hope you listen to them. They're going to be hilarious. We're going to just we're going to talk seriously about the subject, and then we're going to tell personal stories, and they're going to be hilarious. Especially mine will be hilarious. And I'm looking forward to it. I
will prepare myself emotionally for that and dive in. Absolutely.
Yeah, last May I wanted to do this, right? But because it was such a bad year, and that was when, my mom got injured and all that horrible stuff happened to me, I didn't even think I was going to still be doing this in 2020, So then I decided, no, I'm going to go all out this year, and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to get as many people as possible. I've got so many people coming on to do it and stuff, and it's going to be great. I'm so looking forward to it. Back in 2018, I had one interview about it. There's this woman. She's starting to make a name for herself on YouTube. Her name's Amber Leitz, and she's a sex expert. She's not really a coach or a doctor or any of that stuff. She's a 30-year-old gorgeous girl from the Midwest who pulls no punches, giving sex advice on YouTube and all that stuff. And I had her on, and we told stories and stuff, and I thought that was awesome. And I was scared shitless because it was my first episode where I went really, really deep like that, And so I drank all these cups of coffee and soda with caffeine in it to get me in the mood to do it.
So not only were you nervous, but you were bouncing off the walls. That's okay.
Yeah. Oh. And when I listened to it, I was like, oh my God, listen to me. I'm just blah 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 blah. And I think she could sense that too, which is why she hasn't come back on since. But I'm still in touch with her though. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This May, it's going to be no prisoners.
It sounds like it. It sounds like it. I wish you a tremendous amount of luck, my dear. That sounds awesome.
Yes. It's going to be just, oh my God, just awesome. But so you got those projects that you're working on and stuff. Is there anything else?
No, I mean right now I'm at home.
Yeah, well, of course I know quarantine, yeah. But is there anything in the future you hope to do after quarantine ends? Is what I mean.
Well, we were auditioning for projects before this happened, and those projects will be taken up again once the quarantine is lifted or relaxed on some level. I'm sure the entertainment industry is going to have to make a lot of adjustments. You can catch me right now on an episode that I actually just did. It just aired, I think, at the end of February, of Chicago Fire. Mm-hmm. The episode is called Shut It Down. And apparently, according to a lot of Fire fans that I have spoken to, it's one of their favorite episodes of season 8. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. And I have a very good role on there. I play the CEO of the gas company in Chicago.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Nice. Do you wear a suit in it?
She wears a suit, but she's pretty modern girl. They let me be. They certainly didn't do the bun and the glasses or anything like that. I got to be stylish.
Nice. Although there's nothing wrong with the bun and the glasses,
No, I didn't mean that. What I meant was, as an intellectual and the CEO of the gas company, they might have gone that route, but they let her have a sense of style, which I thought was cool.
Nice. Well, Katie, I'm so glad you came back on again. I always love talking to you because you're so awesome.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. I love talking to you too, and you have a beautiful heart. And I think you're making a lovely contribution. So thank you so much for inviting me.
you so much, hon. Yes. And then when all that comes to fruition, we'll talk about it. And like I,
Cool.
like I said, keep listening to my episodes. They're going to get better and better. And I'm just so lucky to have you as a support system.
Thank you. Well, I'm here, my dear. Thank you so much, and thank you for everything that you're doing, and for thinking of me, and for being such a fan of these films and these projects that might otherwise have been forgotten had it not been for you. So thank you.
Oh, certainly. Well, you have yourself a great night, and wash your belly button.
You too. Take care of yourself.
Yes, wash your belly button.
That was exactly what I was going to say. Wash your feet.
Yes, I will.
Hang up to wash your feet right now.
Okay.
And change your socks.
I am not wearing socks.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
All right, have a good night, my dear. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, there you have it. Katie Barberi. Ain't she a sweetheart? I love Katie. She's the best. There's no one like her. She's a special lady, and I'm lucky to have her as a friend. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, add me as a friend on Facebook, join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.